This is Chestacho.
The World Chess Championship determines the world champion in chess, with the current title holder being Magnus Carlsen of Norway. The first recognized world championship took place in 1886, and from 1886 to 1946, the champion set the terms for the matches. FIDE took over the administration of the championship in 1948, and from 1948 to 1993, a set of tournaments were organized every 3 years to select a new challenger. Garry Kasparov broke away from FIDE in 1993, resulting in a rival claimant to the title for the next 13 years. The titles were unified in 2006, and all subsequent matches have been administered by FIDE. Since 2014, the championship has been on a 2-year cycle. There are separate championships for women, under-20s and lower age groups, seniors, computers, rapid, blitz, correspondence, problem-solving, and Fischer random chess. Before Wilhelm Steinitz and Johannes Zukertort, no chess player seriously claimed to be the champion of the world, though there were several players recognized as the strongest of their time, such as Ruy Lopez, Paulo Boy, and Leonardo de Catteri. French players dominated the 18th and early 19th centuries, with Legal de Kermer, François-André Danican-Philidor, Alexandre Destaples, and Louis-Charles Mahe de la Bourdonnais all considered the strongest players of their time. La Bourdonnais' match victory over Irishman Alexander McDonnell in 1834 is considered to have been something resembling a world championship match. Howard Staunton became the world's strongest player after La Bourdonnais' death in 1840 and his victory over Pierre-Charles Fournier de Saint-Amant in 1843. Staunton was the first to be referred to as the chess champion of England or the champion of the world in 1845. The London 1851 chess tournament, organized by Howard Staunton, was the first international chess tournament, and it was won by German Adolf Anderssen. However, there is no evidence that Anderssen was widely acclaimed as the world champion at the time. Paul Morphy, an American chess prodigy, dominated all of his opponents during his brief chess career and was considered by many to be the world champion until his sudden retirement in 1859. After Morphy's retirement, Anderssen was regarded as the world's strongest active player until he was narrowly defeated by Wilhelm Steinitz in 1866. Steinitz confirmed his standing as the world's leading player by winning several tournaments and matches, including the World Chess Championship 1886 against Johannes Zukertort. There is debate over whether to date Steinitz's reign as world champion from his win over Anderssen in 1866 or his win over Zukertort in 1886, with some dividing his reign into an unofficial period before 1886 and an official one after that year. The first official world championship match was in 1886, and Steinitz was considered the first official world chess champion. After the Steinitz-Zukertort match in 1886, a tradition emerged in which the World Championship was decided by a match between the reigning champion and a challenger who would find financial backing for a match purse. Steinitz successfully defended his title against Mikhail Chigorin in 1889, Isidor Gunsberg in 1891, and Chigorin again in 1892. In 1887, the American Chess Congress started working on regulations for the conduct of World Championship contests, resulting in the 1889 tournament in New York to select a challenger for Steinitz. The experiment was not repeated, and Steinitz's later matches were private arrangements between players. Two young strong players, Siegbert Tarrasch and Emanuel Lasker, emerged in the late 1880s and early 1890s. Lasker, who was able to raise the money to challenge Steinitz, won the 1894 match and succeeded Steinitz as world champion. Emanuel Lasker held the world championship title from 1894 to 1921, the longest reign of any champion. He won a return match against Steinitz in 1897 and then did not defend his title for 10 years, before playing 4 title defenses in 4 years. Lasker defeated Frank Marshall in 1907, Siegbert Tarrasch in 1908, almost lost his title in a tied match against Karl Schlechter in 1910, and then defeated Dawid Janowski later that year. Lasker's negotiations for title matches from 1911 onwards were controversial due to his severe financial demands and novel conditions, including the proposal that the match should be considered drawn if neither player finished with a 2-game lead. In 1920, Lasker abdicated in favor of Capablanca, his proposed successor, due to public criticism of the terms of their match. Capablanca won their match in 1921, ending Lasker's reign as world champion. In 1914, the top chess players agreed to rules drafted by Capablanca that set standards for title matches, including the champion defending his title once a year and the match being won by the first player to win 6 or 8 games. In 1922, Capablanca proposed the London Rules, which included a requirement for the champion to defend his title within 1 year of receiving a challenge and a demand for a purse of at least $10,000. Alekhine, Rubinstein, and Nimzowitsch challenged Capablanca, but only Alekhine could raise the required funds and beat him in 1927. Alekhine then became world champion and offered Capablanca a return match under the London Rules. Negotiations dragged on for years, but Alekhine won 2 title matches against Bogoljubov before unexpectedly losing to Yue in 1935. Alekhine won the rematch, but remained world champion until his death in 1946 due to the interruption of world title matches by World War II. Before 1948, world championship matches in chess were financed through arrangements where either the challenger or both players would contribute to a purse with backers, with the winner receiving the larger share of the remainder. This system evolved from wagering small stakes on club games in the early 19th century. Until the 1894 Steinitz-Lasker match, both players and their backers contributed equally to the purse. However, Lasker introduced the practice of demanding that the challenger should provide the entire purse, making it difficult to arrange world championship matches. For example, Marshall challenged Lasker in 1904 but could not raise the money until 1907, while Rubinstein was unable to raise the funds for a match against Lasker in 1911. In the early 1920s, Alekhine, Rubinstein, and Nimzowitsch all challenged Capablanca, but only Alekhine was able to raise the required funds and not until 1927.
This is Chess Tacho.